Me to go out here, help my voice to work, help me to have good intention to connect with.
I never would have thought I would have been talking about Imagine Dragons. But growing up in the late 2000s, the early 2010s, really the entirety of the 2010s, the band has always been on my music radar. I used to love their music that they've made around that time, only to learn years later that people do not like their stuff. Sure, they have their fan base, but generally speaking, I know a lot of people do not like Imagine Dragons. But after listening to just their hits, I finally decided to listen to a few of their records. That's why I'll be taking you through their 2012 debut, Night Visions.
But we're just excited about the food and the music and the.
Before we get into how they made the record and the record itself, we have to go back to the beginning. The band formed in 2008 when Dan Reynolds met drummer Andrew Tolman while they were students at Brigham Young University. They started a band and recruited several classmates for their original lineup. Demos were recorded and uploaded to MySpace. However, the first version of the band wouldn't last very long. As members left and joined, Tolman invited high school friend Wayne Sermon, a graduate of Berklee College of Music, to join on guitar. After a while, Sermon convinced fellow Berklee student Ben McKee to become the bassist. This trio became the core of the band that they would eventually be known for. Starting in Utah, they soon relocated Reynolds' hometown of Las Vegas. They played at local venues and released 3 EPs independently from 2009 to 2011. They're self-titled, Hell in Silence, and It's Time. Their big break would happen almost by accident. The band Train had to cancel a performance at the Bite of Las Vegas festival due to their singer becoming ill. Imagine Dragons were asked to fill in and ended up performing in front of more than 26,000 people, which gave them a huge boost in local recognition. The band was then signed to Interscope Records later in 2011. Now, by this point, Andrew Tolman had departed and Danielle Platzman joined as drummer. Now, the band did come out with 5 singles, but only one was the lead single. The other 4 were promotional singles after the record came out on September 4th, 2012. I'll mention the lead single first before I get into the record itself and the 4 other promotional singles as we go through the record. So here is the lead single. Okay, right off the bat, this is awful. Oh god, this is so bad. Oh Jesus Christ. I understand the message he's trying to get across or communicating here. It's more like a powerful anthem for himself, if I have to describe it. He references his time in college on the line. Dan has expressed that he was not enjoying where he was in life by that point, period. That would eventually lead him to leave college and pursue music. It also goes over how you can grow without losing yourself by maturing, changing your circumstances, and facing new challenges while staying yourself. There's that. However, there's a problem. What's up with the mixing on this track? It has acoustic elements, yet it still sounds overblown. It stays the same throughout the vast majority of the song. The singing is not that good. I think it's alright at best. The high-pitched sound on the chorus makes it so unbearable. Now, I'm just now finding out that this is supposed to be a blend of alt rock, folk pop, and mandolin. This is not a good mixture. Like, it's like they're trying to fill in so many gaps that they overfill the mix with so much sludge. Now, even if I didn't enjoy the song, it was huge for the band. It reached number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100, earned a nomination for Best Rock Video at the 2012 MTV Music Video Awards, and opened the door for one of their promotional singles that I'll mention later. Now, one last thing I'll mention here before I get into how this record was created is talk about one of their fans.
That I met a man, he was 16 years old and he completely changed my life. His name is Tyler Robinson.
This song would have an additional meaning for them because of a boy named Tyler Robinson, who was a big Imagine Dragons fan, loved the song It's Time, and even went to a concert of theirs back in 2011.
Kid who just was kind of moving up, and I thought, okay, this must be Tyler.
Unfortunately, at 17 years old, he passed away due to having cancer in 2013. Damn, it's gotten so sad right now. I mean, it's difficult to talk about things like cancer because there's no universal cure as far as I know. What the band would do is start the Tyler Robinson Foundation to help families affected by pediatric cancer. Dan Reynolds would introduce the song in concerts by sharing Tyler's story, which made it one of their most emotionally significant performances. Now, look, I still don't like the goddamn lead single, but knowing that story now, I mean, It's just another reminder of that life is too short and that we should cherish it. Oh god, that was a rough part to get through. Jeez, talk about having deep empathy. The record would take 3 years to craft, from combining grassroots recordings with major label polish. The band worked to refine their sound through several EPs before moving to Palm Studio in Las Vegas to work with hip-hop producer Alex the Kid, who was the same person who actually signed them to Interscope Records, and Brandon Darner. They fused their rock roots with hip-hop beats, pop hooks, and folk and dubstep elements. The recording was heavily recorded, putting in multiple intense studio hours with a documentary called The Making of Night Visions. So now with all of that out of the way, let's dive into the track list itself. Now, as a person that grew up in the 2010s, I remember hearing the song for the first time like it was yesterday, just to come back to over a decade later and just to ask myself, why the hell did I like this? The production style has not only aged poorly, but this dubstep trail that's layered over this beat is questionable. The guitar in the beginning made me completely forget about the overwhelming turn on the first verse. Speaking of verses, what is the songwriting trying to do? Reynolds wrote the lyrics while struggling with depression, anxiety, and the loss of faith following his departure from Mormonism. He uses lyrics such as ash, dust, chemicals, and apocalypse to represent the destruction of his previous worldview, with waking up symbolizing his self-empowerment and newfound hope outside the church. There's generally not a whole lot to speak about when it comes to the writing. It's very minimal in this part of the song, and it could have done better at getting this message across rather than just being vague. Like, I liked the song in the past purely for nostalgia reasons. Now that I'm taking it seriously, this is not it. What in the world are they doing with these synths? It's so lazy in how it's utilized, and the overall production isn't something to write home about. Dan's falsetto, to me, does not sound compelling on the chorus. If anything, I think it sounds kind of forced. This 1980s style isn't something I'm a huge fan of when it comes to trying to sound very commercial and polished. The lyrics are about moving under the radar while quietly building up the strength to succeed anyway. I guess I can empathize with the song in that respect. However, some of the lyrics don't sound right to me, like on the line, now I'm not sure what that actually means, so I'll just bombard in someone's way and just tiptoe higher. God, this writing is awful. The line about people he's referring to as seeing them dive like a vicious dove and won't see him coming, so who can blame them? It's just so nonsensical. I would have just blamed them for not seeing him coming. Oh jeez, as a gay man, that does not sound right. Wait, I remember this song too. I mostly remember it for the chorus. And just like with Radioactive, why the hell did I like this? Now, I think the song is fine because of the overall message Dan is getting across. This song is a reflection of his lifelong battle with clinical depression and anxiety. He warns a loved one not to get too close and wants to protect them from his own negative traits. Going through the lyrics, it reveals a universal struggle. More or less nice. The chorus is fine. I only like it due to nostalgia reasons, but everything I don't like about the band bleeds through on this. The guitar does not sound great while it's trying to fight its way through the mix. I guess I like it for how it builds to the chorus, but I think it would have been better if it were just a smoother track. Also, the music video, directed by Isaac Halasima, was dedicated to Tyler Robinson, whom I mentioned earlier. Regardless of how I feel about the song, this is a very nice gesture. Damn, how much was I listening to music back then? I remember the song too. Wow, they're really trying hard to make uplifting songs, because this is another celebratory track. The first verse speaks of having gratitude, that we shouldn't take people that we love for granted. The overuse of the word hey on the chorus is terrible. It appears on the first chorus too. The production has a rhythmic bounce to it, but something feels off about it. Maybe because it sounds like so cheesy and cliche. Like, this song reminds me of the usual messages that has always been taught in kids movies that aren't necessarily quality films to begin with. Like, don't take your loved ones for granted. I'm on top of the world because my dream came true. Like, you get the gist. Then there's a music video for it, directed by Matt Easton and Corey Fox. Look, it's fine. It's nothing special in the grand scheme of things, but there was something I saw that didn't make sense for them to reference. There was a Beatles reference, specifically referring to Abbey Road. There was also a joke about a conspiracy that Paul was dead at the time. The song defeated me. Like, I don't feel uplifted. I feel like I'm stuck in the trenches. Oh my god, this is just a blatant ripoff of Coldplay. Those guitar licks sound like something straight out of the song Shiver. Like, God, this production is just not it. I can't stand this overblown millennial cliche style of music. Those gated drums and strings on the chorus sound cinematic, but it doesn't erase the terrible mixing on the track, because I literally had to listen more closely than I should have just to describe what the production is doing here. Dan originally wrote the writing before visiting the city of Amsterdam, basically romanticizing it as a symbol of freedom and escape from his hometown in Las Vegas. The verse is him apologizing to his mother, brother, and his lover for letting them down. Something that was very weird for me is on the line,
You set yourself fantastically, congratulations, you were all alone.
he's talking from the perspective of his lover, I know, but I think it's such a douchey thing to say after saying that it wasn't meant to be. The song just ends with a feeling of hopelessness, so what was the point of it all? I was hoping for at least a hopeful ending, but we just got back to square one. Going back to this song, it's alright for the most part. The song sounds like it has a purpose, and the singer fits the song better than the previous ones. Now, am I wrong for calling this another cliche cut for its style of production? Now, it sounds like something straight out of a Disney musical around the late 2000s, like, I don't know, something like Lemonade Mouth. It's more about a plea for someone to listen and care due to a tumultuous relationship. Some of the writing is a bit lazy.
Kiss, so you're loving the floor to the floor and the sky to the sky.
The chorus has him asking if anyone can hear him breathe, which could also be him asking if anyone sees him as human. There's not much to say about the song other than that. I understand that the chorus to any song is meant to just stick in your head, but my god, this is really bad. This writing is atrocious. I mean, yeah, you're coming home. What am I supposed to do with this information? From what I could gather, the song is describing him as the weather while trying to find himself and won't blame us if we find a reason to something. Okay, now I'm a little confused. Okay, the bridge feels like the ultimate conclusion of this relationship, saying that he's not changing. Didn't he just say that it's hard to find himself? I won't repeat myself, so let's get into the production. It's very minimal, not much detail is given. The drums and percussion are very noticeable. It has some ambient atmosphere, but that's just it. There's nothing more to the production. I can't stand this. Moving on. What is this? Okay, when those stomp claps come in, they just surprisingly just sound lifeless. Apparently it has what's called the broken record effect. It's an entire aesthetic where the guitar chords are repeating on the record. Those dings on the chorus are a nice touch, but it does not save it in the slightest. They're meshing so many things together on the mixing, maybe even too many things. Now, I wondered whether or not I heard the keys on this track. I guess Dan's voice sounds like compelling right before we hit the chorus, but I can't find the attachment to it. When it comes to the lyrics, it does revolve around sacrifice, saying that he's bleeding out for his partner due to his sins, and the last thing he wants to do is bring her down. Cool angle, I guess. The singing is all types of fucked. For the longest time, as I learned more and more about music, Dan tends to pull or even belt with his chest voice, or maybe even his mix upper register on a good sunny day. Now, I think he can pull it off. It just doesn't work here. No fucking way. No way. This is just a blatant Owl City song. Like, there's no possible way they went into this polished DIY direction, but they did. It sounds like Hello Seattle cranked up to a 10. Like, these electronic beats have not aged the best, but growing up around this time, I guess I can't hate on this entirely, but damn, this was a brain blast for me. They're using the word hey chant on the first chorus again on this song. Why? Beats the fuck out of me. The chorus is something I can only describe as them saying my luck is giving me the short end of the stick, but I love being the underdog. But that's just it. The writing is so lazy. I'm not trying to speed through this, but there's just not much here. Please help me. I am so uninterested in this two-part bullshit. It is 9 minutes long that features 2 separate songs. Why? Let's get one thing straight. The first section has nothing. It's a wasteland, especially on the chorus. Then there's rocks. I'll just say one thing about this section. They're asking about where they go from here, then saying that they threw some rocks up at your window. The production is such a nothing burger. I'm suffering through this. Guys, I'm on my last couple breaths. Jesus Christ, this writing is awful across this record. I'm trying to find any depth in these verses. You're headed for the highway home? Okay, and the sky is blue. Buster. The production sounds a little listenable. I don't mind it. The digital effects sound very cheery in a way that I like. The chorus is fine. The refrain of shake it is fun to sing along to. Everything that doesn't make the song work It's the same reasons why many of the songs on this record don't work. The bridge sounds very out of place, almost like it was straight from a demo. Okay, moving on. Finally, we're at the end of my misery. Look, this isn't terrible. I liked it until they just throw everything at you at once. The verses actually sound bearable as far as the production goes. The chorus is nothing to write home about. Production overall sounds very overblown with those gated drums. Jesus Christ. Bridge is mainly vocalizations. It's about something involving us having a sense of fear, that equivalent of being the candle in the wind and asking if we'll wait until he dies. Yeah, I'm done. God. Okay, that was a rough project to get through, but I had integrity. I was willing to go through every song and tell you how I felt about them, if not more. This record is awful. It's terrible, without question. There are so many things that I didn't like about the overbearing, millennial pop and rock elements that never sat well with me, and this is a great example of that. Sure, there were a few tracks that I found listenable. However, most of the time, the band was either ripping off other artists, replaying the same ideas, or solely relying on chance. I'm glad I'm done with this record. I don't plan on coming back to it anytime soon, which is why I'll give this a D-. Now, no amount of criticism could have stopped the commercial success of what this record received. This was a huge launch for them as one of the biggest bands in the world at the time. Now, it debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, selling over 83,000 copies in its first week. It was the highest charting debut by a new rock band in more than 60 years. It did very well in more than a dozen countries. It was also certified 8 times platinum by RIAA, representing over 8 million units. It was the 4th best-selling album in the United States in 2013, moving over to 1.4 million copies in 2012. It stayed on the charts for years of the streaming era, spending over 300 weeks on the Billboard 200 by 2018. The lead and promotional singles were massive successes. They won a Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance for Radioactive. It also won Top Rock Album at the Billboard Music Awards and was nominated for International Album of the Year at the Juno Awards. Oh, fucking Christ. So yeah, Mochi and I are gonna go play on our Imagination Station now. And as always, I'll see you on the next video. I might have to do more videos like this.
Still crazy.